Mary Ann Cole had always been proud of her son, Ryan. Even on his worst days, when his temper flared or when he made choices she didn't approve of, she had believed that somewhere underneath it all he was a good boy. She had raised him alone after her husband left when Ryan was just 7, and though their relationship had its rough edges, she had tried her best to give him a sense of right and wrong. But nothing could have prepared her for the night everything changed. Welcome to Shadows of Justice, where crime meets compassion. If you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share. For returning viewers, thanks for sticking to the channel. It began with a knock at the door, late in the evening. Mary Ann had just finished folding laundry when she heard it, a hesitant rapping that carried an almost desperate quality. She opened the door to find Ryan standing there, his hands trembling, eyes wide and haunted. "Mom, I messed up," he whispered, barely audible over the wind rattling the windows. Her heart skipped. "What do you mean?" He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he stepped inside and let the door close behind him. His jacket was stained with something dark, something that smelled metallic. Fear gripped her chest, cold and heavy. "Ryan, what is it?" I didn't mean to, Mom. It was an accident, but His voice cracked, and he buried his face in his hands. Mary Ann followed him to the couch, where he collapsed against her, shaking. Slowly, carefully, he began to confess. Earlier that night, he had been driving home from work when a pedestrian, an elderly man crossing the street, had stepped into the road unexpectedly. Ryan swerved, tried to avoid hitting him, but the car skidded on the wet asphalt, and he hadn't survived. "It's my fault, Mom. I didn't see him in time. I couldn't stop. I panicked, and I left him there. I don't know what to do." Mary Ann felt a surge of protective instinct. Her son was terrified, broken. She knew that calling the police immediately would mean Ryan facing a charge, possible prison time, a record that could ruin him. She also knew he had acted out of fear, not malice. "We can fix this, Ryan. We'll figure something out," she said, trying to keep her voice calm, though her heart pounded. She helped him clean the car, wipe away any evidence that could incriminate him further. She coached him to avoid leaving fingerprints on surfaces he didn't need to touch, helped him get rid of the clothes that bore the blood and mud from the accident. In the following days, Mary Ann became a master of concealment, not just of the evidence, but of her emotions. To the outside world, she was just a worried mother helping her son cope with trauma. But in the private corners of her home, she was living in constant fear. Fear that someone would discover the truth. Fear that Ryan would spiral further. Fear that what she was doing was morally wrong. Meanwhile, Ryan sank into a quiet, guilt-ridden shell. He barely spoke, barely ate, and spent hours staring at the floor, replaying the accident over and over in his mind. Mary Ann tried to keep his spirits up, reminding him that they would figure it out, that sometimes life had cruel accidents. But deep down, she knew he needed something more than sympathy. He needed to do the right thing. But doing the right thing meant going to jail. Weeks passed. The case made the local news. An elderly man, Mr. Thompson, had died after being hit by a car, and police were asking for witnesses. Mary Ann's stomach twisted every time she saw Ryan glance at the news, guilt flickering across his face. Then came the moment that changed everything. Ryan woke one morning, eyes red from crying, and told his mother he couldn't live with the guilt anymore. "I can't, Mom. I need to fix this. Even if it ruins me, I can't let this lie go on. I have to turn myself in." Mary Ann felt the blood drain from her face. She wanted to protest, to find some legal loophole, to shield him just a little longer. But as she looked at him, she saw the desperation, the honesty, the raw need to do what was right.
She realized she had been protecting him, yes, But in doing so, she had trapped him in a cage of fear and shame. "You're going to do the right thing, Ryan," she whispered. "I'll be there with you." The walk to the police station was excruciating. Every step felt like dragging a boulder across her chest. People passed them on the street, unaware of the private horror they carried. Ryan's hands were shaking, but he held his head high. He was no longer hiding from the world. He was stepping into it, into judgment, into accountability. When they arrived, Marianne stayed close. Ryan took a deep breath, then walked through the doors and told the desk sergeant everything. The police took notes, asked questions, and eventually placed him in a holding area. Marianne sat in the waiting room, heart in her throat, feeling both fear and pride in equal measure. Hours later, Ryan emerged, tear-streaked but resolute. The police had taken his statement, and while the legal consequences were inevitable, there was a sense of relief in having told the truth. Marianne embraced him, holding him close, feeling the weight of weeks of secrecy lift, if only slightly. In the days that followed, Marianne became a quiet pillar for Ryan. She visited him, brought him food, and held his hand through the initial hearings. Neighbors and friends who had no idea of her complicity offered support when they heard of the accident, never suspecting the turmoil that had gone on behind closed doors. Through the legal process, Marianne learned a hard lesson. Protecting someone you love doesn't always mean hiding their mistakes. Sometimes the truest form of love is guiding them to face the consequences of their actions, standing by their side as they do. Ryan served his sentence, shorter than he had feared thanks to the court's recognition of his immediate admission of guilt and his lack of prior offenses. When he emerged, older, more measured, and deeply changed, Marianne waited for him at the prison gates. "You did the right thing, Ryan," she told him, tears streaming down her face. "Even when it hurt, even when it scared you, I'm proud of you." Ryan hugged her tightly, whispering, "I couldn't have done it without you, Mom. I know I made you suffer, and I'm sorry, but you gave me the courage to do what was right." Marianne realized in that moment that redemption wasn't just for the guilty, it was for everyone who stood in the shadow of wrongdoing, who bore the weight of secrets and fear. By letting him face the truth, she had not only helped Ryan find redemption, but she had found a measure of it herself. In the years that followed, Ryan became a volunteer with a local road safety program, speaking to teenagers about responsibility and the consequences of rash decisions. Marianne supported him every step of the way, attending his talks, sharing his message of accountability and courage. The mother who had once hidden her son's crime now watched him turn that mistake into a lesson for others, a symbol of redemption born from fear, love, and ultimately the courage to face the truth. Marianne never forgot that night, the one when Ryan had come to her broken and afraid, and she had made a choice. She had hidden him, yes, but she had also allowed him the space to choose what was right. In doing so, she had learned that true love sometimes requires letting go and letting someone confront the darkness to find their own light. It was a painful journey, a story of fear, guilt, and consequences. But in the end, it was also a story of redemption. Ryan had paid for his crime, but he had also been forgiven, not just by the world, but by himself. And Marianne had been witness to every step of it, her heart swelling with pride, sorrow, and love, all at once. The accident had changed everything, but it had not broken them. Instead, it had forged a bond stronger than fear, a testament to the power of truth, courage, and the unshakable bond between a mother and her child. This is Shadows of Justice, where crime meets compassion. Subscribe for more emotional true crime and redemption storytelling, where every scar tells a story worth hearing.